A doll, by its easiest definition, is a parent of a human or animal made in shut likeness to the real thing, both as a kid's toy or a spiritual symbol. The idea of a doll dates back to the oldest civilizations, such as ancient Rome, Egypt, and Greece. Dolls over the years appear to be made from something substances were handy at the time or in the region of the world. For example, in the extra-historical civilizations, dolls were made from wood, bone, or clay. In this video, we are going you to the world of love dolls. Excited? Let's begin. But before that, hello and welcome to Robot Future, where we fill you in on every thrilling discovery and mind-blowing insight in the world of robots, AIs, and future technology. So consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification for a ton of exciting robot content coming your way. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. As far as archaeology is concerned, it looks as though dolls have been the oldest toy that can be determined in historical civilizations. Wooden paddle dolls appear to be the oldest entire dolls, located as they have been discovered buried in ancient Egyptian burial grounds and tombs dating lower back to 2000 BC. Dolls have a vast array of purposes. They can be honestly for amusement and enjoyment, however, can additionally act as safety and nonsecular or non-secular artifacts. When scientists convey dolls into the lab, the toys transcend their position as playthings. They can expose racism and unleash aggression. The humanoid types are effortless to become aware of, permitting them to serve as scientific stand-ins and therapeutic companions. Their acquainted anatomy is additionally perfect for plotting out technical reference points. From creepy to cute, these 5 collectible figurines have powered a long time of lookup and innovation. As the age of enterprise began and the world changed, so did manufacturing processes. This is now not solely utilized for coal and steel, but also the methods surrounding doll manufacturing. Doll heads started to be made with subtle porcelain and connected to a physique made with a distinct material, normally leather, wood, or composite. As Robin Pugh, a creator at Origin Writings and Brit student, commented, as manufacturing started to trade, even more, the 1900s noticed dolls made with polymer and plastic skyrocket in recognition due to the fact that they had been more cost-effective substances than the beforehand used leather, wood, and composite. They had been tested to be long-lasting and less complicated to manufacture, making dolls more adorable. A doll is a parent of a human being, and now and again of an animal, used most regularly as a children's toy in magic and spiritual rituals. Some archives show that dolls were used in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. They were made from handy substances like clay, stone, wood, bone, ivory, leather-based, or wax. There is additionally archaeological proof that dolls have been the oldest recognized toys. One of the oldest dolls found is the wooden paddle doll. They had been found in historical Egyptian tombs that date from 2000 BC. Their motive is no longer absolutely clear. Ancient Greek dolls with articulated limbs date from 200 BC, and files from 100 BC exhibit dolls as children's toys. Romans made dolls from rags, clay, ivory, or wood. They had been located in children's graves dressed in state-of-the-art fashions. Newlywed Greek and Roman ladies would provide their dolls to goddesses. Some dolls had more than one role. They had been kids' playthings. However, they would also participate in rituals or be used in kids' education. Some dolls had been in no way given to the teens because it used to be believed that they were too charged with magical powers. African dolls had been education strategies, messengers of gods and ancestors, and ritual tools. Japanese standard dolls have a lengthy history. They originate from the time of the historic Jomon way of life. They had more than one role and were used as toys, for safety, and in spiritual ceremonies. Some of the regular Japanese dolls are Hina dolls, Daruma dolls, and Kokeshi dolls. Effigy as an approach to performing magic was one nicely acknowledged in African, Native American, and European cultures, and some of the examples of effigy dolls had been European poppets. They regularly represented people on which the spell was cast. Sticking pins in voodoo dolls is an attribute of African American hoodoo magic, while Kitchen Witch, a poppet that originated in Northern Europe, used to be used as an approach for bringing correct luck. Hopi Kachini dolls are comparable in reason to African dolls because they are also strategies of education, messengers of gods and ancestors, and ritual tools. They had been supposed to be treasured and studied in order to examine the traits of every Kachina, which are messengers of gods and bringers of desirable luck. Suddenly, dolls became no longer solely exciting, but less costly and fashionable. Fashion dolls first grew to become up in the center of the 1800s, but beginning built out of porcelain. These dolls had been made to signify current stylish beliefs and had been intently accompanied by the aid of the Barbie doll, which seemed in 1959. However, Barbie quickly won opposition when Bratz dolls and motion figures got into the market in 2001 and 1964 respectively. Bobblehead dolls had been at the start made out of papier-mâché. However, as most dolls moved into porcelain and then plastic, bobblehead dolls did too. This doll bobbles with a giant head and is frequently a touristy trinket. The end of the 20th century noticed the generation of customization and personalization be born, which bled into the doll world too, establishing the recognition of customized doll figures. Today, there are too many kinds of dolls to even count. It is loopy to see how dolls have come and modified over the years due to way-of-life shifts and present-day manufacturing. The types of dolls that can be fascinating are the one that give comfort. Dementia unit group of workers more and more use ersatz babies to assist residents with Alzheimer's disease. The style started in the 90s after case research confirmed enhancement in signs and symptoms thanks to dolls. Within days, this frustrated, withdrawn, and depressed man or woman won a new experience of that means to her life, wrote one researcher in 1990. In a 2006 pilot study, domestic nursing personnel mentioned residents with toy companions were regarded as calmer and happier and had an increased feeling of purpose. Psychologists assume the playthings may additionally serve as transitional objects that assist sufferers in relating greater ease to the world around them, similarly to a baby clinging to their favorite blanket. Support survivors. Most dolls don't have anatomically right genitals, but some investigators hold a series of precisely equipped toys whose mission is to assist survivors of abuse in exposing what was passed off to them. In the 1970s, pediatricians, social workers, and psychologists started conducting in-depth dialogues with youths they suspected had been molested. When they weren't forthcoming, the sensible fashions influenced them to divulge more. In one study, the toys made teens interviewed about viable abuse twice as possible to title a perpetrator and 3 instances as probable to grant distinctive descriptions of their experience. There are, however, ongoing debates about whether or not the floppy props may spark false claims. Test safety. The records of automobile security are splattered with gore. That started out in 1949 with Sierra Sam, the first ever crash test dummy. But Sam used to be tall and had flexible rubber joints, which skewed results, and the lack of industry-standard dummy specs made assessments hard to replicate. The answer used to be 1972's Hybrid 2, whose weight and peak flawlessly matched the 50th percentile for American men. So engineers created new gadgets to measure strikes on its lifelike joints and posture. Hybrids now come in a range of sizes, so producers can deliver a whole fake household alongside for the ride. Probe violence. In the early 60s, the blow-up Bobo helped psychologist Albert Bandura look into how teens study from adults. At the time, his friends surmised that human beings made behavioral selections, primarily based on perceived rewards and punishments. Bandura suspected otherwise. His younger son finds out about topics instinctively imitating grown-ups who had been difficult with Bobo, hitting the clown with abandon. Kids have been most likely to assault when they notice male adults do so, possibly due to the fact society framed guys as the best positioned fashions for aggression. Since check topics didn't see the violence and result in prizes or penalties, Bandura concluded that we once in a while study complicated behaviors with the aid of truly copying others. Bobo's bonks nevertheless resonate in regard to the influence of violent video games. Reveal racism. African-American psychologists Kenneth and Mamie Phipps Clark used units of toy babies, some with white skin, some with brown, to apprehend how black young people residing beneath segregation in the 1940s developed their experience of self. Black youngsters introduced with each alternative favored the light doll. Some even cried when requested, which seemed like them. The Clarks took this as proof that youths internalized the social values of their environment. They noticed themselves as inferior due to the fact of their pores and skin color. The exams impressed attorneys in the well-known Brown versus the Supreme Court's 1954 ruling on that case, sooner or later built in colleges and spurred a developing motion for civil rights. What do you think about the world of love dolls? Let us know and subscribe for more.